Hi, everybody. Hello and welcome. We just got we're excited for tonight, and I know that I am too. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Simonetti. I am the founder of Valley Shakespeare Festival, and I want to bring on someone very special too, which is Kayleigh. Hey.
Hi.
My God. Uh, can you believe that this is our last and the last chapter?
Yeah. I mean it's gone by so fast. I remember when we were just talking about, hey, we should do this crazy thing, and now like it's practically over.
Yeah, no, literally. And we've had so many great, wonderful, fantastic, fabulous people who have joined us too throughout this whole entire process, which has been so very lucky. Now, normally, for those of you who follow Valley Shakespeare Festival a lot, we do this at the Plum Memorial Library every year. Now, the first year we did this in 2013, we were in a cold barn at the Shelton History Center. I think the Plum Memorial really took just pity on us and brought us back on in is what they did, because it was so cold in that barn. Some of you out there might remember that whole thing. Hi, Nancy. It's so good to see you. And Jim, we're so excited that you can't wait for the final chapter. Yay. But we're so lucky to have this guest with us today who has been such a champion for Valley Shakespeare Festival and has been doing wonderful things with the whole entire Shelton Library System, because they have two kind of libraries that they run at the same time. We're very lucky in Shelton to have that. So
Yes.
without further ado, right? And also she is on tonight too as well. She's also a part of the broadcast tonight too, as a
Yeah.
character, with a pretty good, I would say, Cockney accent. I would cast her as Eliza Doolittle at the beginning of My Fair Lady,
Yeah,
or
really.
Chameleon. But I want to introduce Joan Stokes to all of you, and I'm going to bring her on in. Hey, Joe.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How's everything going?
Everything is going really well. Considering that it's 2020, we're doing just fine.
Good.
Same here. So, can you tell all the people out there a little bit about you,
Sure.
what you do, and everything else? Go for it.
Sure. I have been a librarian now for over 25 years. I started out as a school teacher and then worked my way into the library world, in addition to raising a couple of kids and being married to my high school sweetheart. And I worked in several libraries, Litchfield and Southbury and Oxford. And 3.5 years ago, Shelton had an opening for a new library director, and I applied, and I was fortunate enough to be selected. So for the past 3.5 years, I've been their director, and we've been doing some great things.
Has it really been 6 years?
No, 3.5.
3 years. Sorry, 3.5 years. Oh my
Three
God!
and a half years already. I know it's going quickly.
It feels like yesterday I was in your office saying, "Hi, I'm Tom." So we're in this pandemic, like you said before, and as we all know too, Valley Shakespeare is in the same thing. What's it been like? Especially because the library is a public space, and they're all saying no,
Right.
no, no to public spaces, right? What's it been like so far?
Well, it's everything that you don't want to do in a library. You don't want to tell someone they can't come to the library because we're going to be closed. You don't want to tell them they can only stay for 30 minutes. You don't want to tell them there's no computers and no public bathrooms, and so many don'ts in our life now. But we've done the best that we can do given the circumstances, and it really has worked well. We did have to close for 6 months. We were closed from March 20th to September 20th. But in that time, there was a lot of positives too. We started doing a curbside pickup that has just completely taken off. We have handed out over 15,000 books and DVDs to over 5,000 people driving up in their cars, which is amazing. This is something that's never going to go away now.
Good. I was going to just ask that. Is that something that you're going to keep on going with?
Right. And it's contact with the people, which is what we as librarians miss. And that's what we're finding. It's been great because we've seen just how much the people have missed the library too, as much as we've missed them. So It's been a wonderful learning experience for all of us, and we're learning what works and what doesn't. And we're just getting through every day and following our protocols and doing the best service that we can, given the state we're in right now. And we're just going to keep on keeping on and doing what we need to do and making our patrons happy.
That's awesome. Now, I know that when you came in, you did a little bit of renovations? Are there any renovations going on or anything? Anything to look forward to once you reopen fully?
Right. Well, when I started, I knew that my directive as the new person there was to clean up and clean out. The Plum Library really is the jewel of Shelton, and it needed some tender, loving care. So something I know how to do is clean. So, which is good because my part's the washerwoman tonight. So I was perfectly cast tonight, Tom.
Perfect.
So we have been cleaning up and cleaning out and restoring and renovating, and we completed the meeting room last year and the children's department, and we are now currently renovating the older part of the building, the part that's on the National Historic Registry. Matter of fact, today I was with the guys pulling up the floors all day. So that'll be done in the next 2 months, and then we'll continue on and do the main floor. And in the next 2 years, it'll be completely renovated and restored to its former glory, which will be great.
And I can't tell you. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for saying hi to Joan.
Lisa's one of our reference librarians. Hello, Lisa. I miss you.
Hi. One thing that I love, we've done Christmas Carol there for the past, let's see, we're in 8 years, 7 years we've been doing it. I love that big that beautiful reading room. I'm excited to see what you've done with it. And I have to say, it is a jewel.
It truly is. With our stained glass and that beautiful woodworking, that architecture that simply could not be replicated today.
If you tried, exactly.
Right.
I am going to say, we've done Christmas Carol in there. I always think that it fits perfectly in that room. It was built in like around like 60 something is what it was. What's your connection with A Christmas Carol personally?
Well, when I think of A Christmas Carol, I see it as like the perfect tale of redemption at a time of year when people really, at the end of the year, people do think back as to what has happened in the past year, the past 5 years, what the road not taken was for them. So I think it's a perfect Christmas story in that the main character, of course, is thinking about the decisions he's made in his life and how his life could have changed and been made better. And then to have that redemption at the end in the best way possible, where he's helping this family that truly needs it with the saddest possible situation where you've got a child who's crippled. Yeah. It is the perfect tale of redemption at the end of the year. And then to have it set in England too, of course. And when you see how it's endured throughout the years, even, it's a perfect tale for all ages when you see that, of course, the films have done such a great job too, from the original to George C. Scott doing it, to Henry Winkler doing the American Christmas Carol, to even the Muppets doing it with Michael Caine, 2-time Academy Award winner. Right. And I just read last week that he said when he said he'd do it, he was not going to wink at the Muppets. He wanted to do it like it was Shakespeare, and that's why it works so well. And it's bringing the story now to children too, which is, of course, where it should start.
And it's a great adaptation of it. Like
beautiful music, great acting, and it's funny too. So the parents love it and the kids love it.
Everybody has a great time with it. So We've taken it this year. We've kind of done it in a radio style, if you would. So kind of like the 1940s, sitting back and relaxing. Kayleigh, can you talk to us a little bit about who we're going to see today?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to make sure I have my list just in case I miss anybody.
There's a lot in this one.
Yeah. We have a nice full cast list, and for all this information, including links to everyone's accounts, go to vsfestival.org/podcast. I'll put a link in the comments, and that will give you a listing of all of our cast members and where they're from. So, for example, for Joan, it'll go to the Friends of Plum Memorial Library. Let me go through this list here. We have Tom Simonetti playing Scrooge and our narrator. Charity woman number 1 is Patricia Tarasovic. Charity woman number 2 is played by moi. Speaking of the Muppets. Old Joe is Art Brennan, who is one of our board members. Washerwoman number 1, as we mentioned, Joan Stokes. Washerwoman number 2 is Diane Stroven. So excited to have her. Fred is played by David Kennedy, as he was in the first couple. Magnolia plays our Tiny Tim, and that's Magnolia McCula, who is Nicole McCula's daughter, and Nicole is back as our Mrs. Cratchit. And then we also have Jim Hawkins back as Bob Cratchit.
That's awesome. Great people. And Joan, you're also with the Friends of the Shelton Library. Can you talk to us a little bit about that real quick?
Sure. The Friends of the Shelton Library is the volunteer organization that works for the library and does a variety of support for the library, and actually coming in and volunteering for us, but also their financial support too. They are the ones who normally have book sales and help support our programming. If there's a teen program or there's pizza served, it's because the friends bought it for them. If there's crafts that are in a story time, often the friends have bought those too. So they support us in every way possible. They do it in person, and they certainly do it financially. And it's been really tough this year for them because they couldn't have their big fundraiser, which is their semi-annual book sale, because we were doing the renovation of the meeting room and the children's department, and then COVID hit. So they have not had a book sale for 3 different cycles now, for a year and a half. So they really need all the help they can get. So it's through membership, and it's also certainly through their book sales too.
So everybody go out and buy a book at the next book sale. Be there browsing.
Or become a Friends member. That would be great.
Membership
Sure,
too, which is great. Well, Kayleigh, are we ready?
I think so.
All right. So we're going to be premiering our third part. Remember that we have just had Scrooge was visited by the ghost of Christmas present. We are on part 4 is what we're at. So Scrooge was visited by the Christmas present. We got to meet the Prackett family. We got to meet Fred, who is Scrooge's nephew. So here we go. Take a listen. Scrooge looked about for the ghost and saw it not. As the last stroke ceased to vibrate, he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley, and lifting up his eyes, beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground towards him. I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. O ghost of the future, I fear you more than any spectre I have seen, but as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, I am prepared to bear you your company and do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me? It gave him no reply. The hand was pointed straight before him. Lead on. Lead on. They scarcely seemed to enter the city, for the city rather seemed to spring up about them. But there they were in the heart of it, on Exchange Street, amongst the merchants. The spirit stopped beside one little knot of businessmen and women. Observing that the hand was pointed to them, Scrooge advanced to listen to their talk.
No, I don't know much about it either way. I only know he is dead.
When did he die?
Inquired another.
Last night, I believe.
I thought he'd never die. What has he done with his money?
I haven't heard. Company, perhaps. He hasn't left it to me. That's all I know.
Scrooge was surprised that the spirit should attach importance to conversation so trivial. They left the busy scene and went into an obscure part of town, to a low shop where iron, old rags, bottles, bones, and greasy offal were about. A gray-haired rascal of great age sat smoking his pipe. Scrooge and the phantom came into the presence of this man, just as the woman with a heavy bundle slunk into the shop. But she had scarcely entered when another woman, also laden, came in too, and she was closely followed by an undertaker in faded black. After a short period of blank astonishment, they all three burst into a laugh.
Look, is old Joe is,
said the first woman.
a chance if we all three met in without meaning it.
You couldn't all have met in a better place. What have you got to sell, eh?
in its patience, Joe, and you shall see. Every person has a right to take care of themselves. He always did. Who's the worse for the loss of a few things like these, eh? Not a dead man, I suppose. If he wanted to keep Martha, he was dead, wicked old screw. Why wasn't he natural in his lifetime? If it had been, he'd have had somebody to look after him when he was struck with death, instead of lying, gasping out his loss there alone by himself.
It's the truest word that was ever spoke. It's a judgment on him.
Chimed in the second woman.
Open this bundle, Joe, and let me know the value of it. Speak out plain. I'm not afraid to be the first, nor afraid for them to see it.
Joe dragged out a large and heavy roll of some dark stuff.
What do you call this? Bed curtains?
Bed curtains? Don't drop that oil upon the blankets now.
His blankets?
Who else's do you think? He isn't likely to take cold without them, I dare say.
I hope he didn't die of anything catching.
Don't you be afraid of that. I ain't so fond of his company that I'd be loitering about him for such things if he did. Ah, you might look through that shirt till your eyes ache, but you find a hole in it or a threadbare place. It's the best he had, and a fine one too. They'd be wasting it by dressing him up in if it hadn't been for me.
Scrooge listened to this dialogue in horror. Spirit, I see. The case of this unhappy man might be my own. My life tends that way now. But Spirit, let me see some tenderness connected with a death, or this dark chamber will be forever present to me. The ghost conducted him to poor Bob Cratchit's house, the dwelling he had visited before, and found the mother and the children seated around the fire. Quiet. Very quiet. The noisy little Cratchits were as still as statues in one corner, and sat looking up at Peter, who had a book before him. The mother and her daughters were engaged in needlework, but surely they were very quiet. The mother laid her work upon the table and put her hands up to her face.
The color hurts my eyes. They're better now. It makes them weak by candlelight. And I wouldn't show weak eyes to your father when he comes home for the world. It must be near his time.
Past it rather, Peter answered. But I think he has walked a little slower these last few evenings, Mother.
I have known him to walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulder very fast indeed. But he was very light to carry, and his father loved him so that it was no trouble. No trouble. And there is your father at the door. Sunday? You went today then, Robert?
Yes, my dear. I wish you could have gone. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is, but you'll see it often. I promised him that I would walk there on a Sunday. My little, little child, my little child.
Mrs. Cratchit kissed him. His daughters kissed him. The two young Cratchits kissed him, and Peter and himself shook hands. Spirit of Tiny Tim, thy childish essence was from God. Spectre, something informs me that our parting moment is at hand. The ghost of Christmas yet to come conveyed him to a dismal, wretched, ruinous churchyard. The spirit stood among the graves and pointed down to one. Before I draw near to that stone to which you point, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of the things that will be, or are they the shadows of the things that may be only? The spirit was immovable as ever. Scrooge crept forward, trembling as he went, following the finger read upon the stone of the neglected grave his own name. Ebenezer Scrooge! No, spirit! Oh no, no, spirit! Hear me! I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been for this intercourse. Why show me this if I am past all hope? Assure me that I yet may change these shadows that you have shown me by an altered life. In all the year, I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me that I may sponge away the writing on this stone. He held his hands up in one last prayer to have his fate reversed. He saw an altercation in the Phantom's hooded dress. It shrunk, collapsed, dwindled down into a bedpost. Yes, and the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all, the time before him was his own to make amends in. He was checked in his transports by the churches ringing out the lustiest peals he had ever heard. Running to the window, he opened it and put out his head. No fog, no mist, no night. Clear, bright, stirring, golden day. What's today? Cried Scrooge, calling downward to a boy in Sunday clothes.
Eh?
What's today, my fine fellow?
Today? Why, Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day! Oh, I haven't missed it. Oh, the spirits have done it all in one night. I don't know what to do. Oh, I'm as giddy as a feather. Oh, I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody! And a Happy New Year to the world. Oh, hello there. Hello. Oh, hello, my fine fellow.
Ella?
You know the Poulters in the next street, one at the corner?
I should hope I did.
Oh, an intelligent boy, a remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey in the window hanging up there?
Well, the one as big as me?
Yes, my buck.
It's hanging there now.
It is. Oh, go and buy it. No. I'm in earnest. Go and buy it and tell them to bring it here, and I may give them the directions of where to take it. Come back with the man, and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes, and I'll give you half a crown. The boy was off like a shot. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's. He shan't know who sent it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. He dressed himself in all his best and lashed out into the streets. The people were by this time pouring forth, as he had seen them, with the ghost of Christmas present, and walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He had gone far when, coming towards him, he beheld the two charity women who had walked into his counting house the day before. Oh, my dear gentlewoman, how do you do? Oh, I hope you have succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. A Merry Christmas to you both.
Mr. Scrooge?
Yes, that is my name, and I fear it may not be pleasant to you. Allow me to ask your pardon, and if you would have the goodness to take this.
Lord bless me. My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious?
If you please, and not a farthing less.
My dear sir, I don't know what to say. Too much.
Don't say anything, please. I am very much obliged to you. Thank you 50 times. Bless you. He went to church and walked about the streets and watched the people hurry to and fro and patted the children on the head. He never dreamed that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock. Fred?
Why, bless my soul, who's that?
It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I have come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?
Let him in.
In his mercy, he didn't shake off his arm. Nothing could be heartier. There was a wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. But Scrooge was early at the office the next morning. Oh, he was early there. If he could only be there to catch Bob Cratchit coming late. There was the thing he had set his heart upon. And he did it. Yes, he did. The clock struck 9. No Bob. A quarter past. No Bob. He was a full 18 minutes behind his time. Scrooge sat with his door wide open, that he might see him come into his office. Hello? What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?
I'm very sorry, sir. I am behind my time.
You are. I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please.
It is only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
Now I'll tell you what, my friend. I am not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I am about to raise your salary. Oh, a Merry Christmas, Bob. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss our affairs this very afternoon. Make up the fires and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit. Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim,
Who did not die.
he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh and little heeded them, for he was wise enough to know that nothing happened on this globe for good, at which some people do not have their fill of laughter in the outset. He had no further intercourse with spirits, and it always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. And may that be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, every one. All right. Hello, everybody. And we are back. Hi. Oh my gosh. We got through it. Oh, I hope everybody enjoyed it. How did you like it, Joan?
It was fabulous.
You were fabulous, is what you were.
Yes, you were.
Oh my God, that was so wonderful. We have some wonderful people saying thank you for putting this together for us. It's really been wonderful. We're so sad we couldn't do this at the library, but next year, right?
Next year, and it will be even better. Yeah,
Even
this
better.
was so much fun. Thank you so much for inviting me too.
Thank
What
you
a
so much.
pleasure. So happy to do it.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And everybody, make sure that you do check out, of course, the Plum Memorial Library in Shelton, Connecticut. Become a member of the Friends of the Shelton Library System. We thank you, Joan, again for all of your support to us too. We love it. Have a Merry Christmas.
Oh, my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you all who are out there as well too for being here with us. Kayleigh, how you feeling about the whole thing?
Whew, we did it. I keep saying that. But
We did
we did it. And just so everybody knows, this is not like a one-time only thing. We have started this podcast and we're releasing it monthly.
Right.
We started back in August. We've been, like I said, monthly. So we have August, September, October, and then November, which is 4 episodes. We have a couple of other teasers in there too, and a little behind the stage, backstage access to some of the actors. It's a lot of fun. And then we have more coming up. So Tom, let's get talking about the January episode.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll have something ready for you for January. Please join us on the Bard on the Pod is what it's called.
Yes.
And we hope to see you next year. We will also be revealing probably our season coming up too of Free Shakespeare in the Park and other events throughout the year. So thank you all very much for coming. We hope you have a wonderful year. Have a very happy holiday. And of course, as Charles Dickens did say, let's say it together, Kayleigh.
Yeah.
God bless
us. Everyone.
Thank you all very much. We're going to bring Joan back just to give a quick wave.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you.
See you later. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.